Welcome to Forensic Friday.
Where we examine the intersection of true crime, psychology, and the heart of being human in the middle of it all.
Okay, so Janine,
Yes.
I have something. I have bad news.
I don't like bad news at all.
I know, but I have it.
Uh-huh.
Were you NSYNC or Backstreet Boys?
I know what this is.
Stop.
I know what this is. And you know what? I was neither.
But you just gotta. Oh, you were neither?
I was neither.
Okay, well, here's the thing. I don't know if you do know what this is.
Justin Timberlake, DWI?
No.
Oh, it's something different.
It's different.
Okay. What is it?
Well, you gotta
pick which one?
You gotta pick which one you liked.
Okay, if I absolutely had to pick between Backstreet Boys and NSYNC, I would pick NSYNC.
Okay.
Because of Justin Timberlake.
Yes, I love JT. You know what? Here's the thing. He got a DUI. I still love him. People make mistakes.
I love him too. Also, though, you're a millionaire. You could get a ride somewhere.
Yeah, but here's the thing. If I'm Justin Timberlake, I don't want to order just some random Uber.
True. But also, like, what's better? Mugshot or...
you know
what I'm saying?
I mean, I get it. He could...
Put your ass in a cab. Like, you don't get a DUI and then have the paparazzi have a heyday.
I know, but I just love him so much. I hope he's doing okay. Okay. I was always actually pretty 50-50, but I fell in love with Backstreet first.
Okay.
But then when I started to get involved with NSYNC's music, I loved them just as much. So absolutely. I know that's probably no one's favorite thing. So here's the thing, my friend. We might have to do an episode on this later. I don't know if I'm ready for it.
Oh, no.
So Nick Carter, there's a whole thing on Prime Video on how awful he was as a young adult into almost into his 30s.
With girls?
Yeah. He's married with kids now, but there's this whole thing on how awful he was to girlfriends.
Were they did he get with younger people?
Yeah, but that wasn't the theme necessarily. Yes, and I mean, he dated Paris Hilton, and in this documentary, it talks about how he hit her, and there's photos of her with busted lip and bruises all over her.
Oh gosh!
But it talks about. Did you ever hear of that female band Dream?
Vaguely.
They were around for a minute.
Okay.
So their lead singer and him, it's a whole thing. Anyway, it makes my heart hurt because he was my favorite. Backstreet Boys. I was literally driving home from The Landing, which is the teen version of Celebrate Recovery that I volunteer at.
Yeah.
A Backstreet Boys song came on and I started singing and then my heart just sank and I was like, I don't know how to feel right now.
So sad. He was always too pretty for me. I just... Man pretty is not my favorite.
Yeah.
However, when I used to listen to both, I still just had a hard time because I feel like Justin Timberlake just rose above the rest.
Yes.
But I didn't know they had the same manager, and he really pit them against each other in the very, very beginning.
Oh, I didn't know that either.
So it was like a race to see who would make it, and it was ridiculous. They would practice. I forget where I heard about this. But they would practice in storage units and stuff for hours and hours and hours in the summer, in the heat. And it was a survival match between the two for a while.
Dang.
Yeah, before they hit it big.
Yeah. That's crazy. I didn't know that either. But yeah. So we'll see. I have to get the gumption to maybe present some surprises.
Well, I will comfort you if you do that. That's my thanks to you.
Makes me so sad. Anyway, I had to bring that on you.
Oh, I thought for sure you were going to talk about Timberlake because we were just talking about how great he is
the other day.
I had the dream, and we told him about the podcast. Yeah, no, I'm a little mad at him. The DUI thing is hard for me because I've run DUI groups. I've worked with people who've had DUIs. but it's just when you have resources like that,
Mm-hmm.
and it does tell you a bit about his inner circle because who
let him
do that? I mean, he has security guards, he has, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. It's a lot.
Yeah.
So
you have something for me.
I'm gonna surprise you all the way through. You may loosely have heard of this case.
Okay.
This one is up your alley so much.
Okay.
It's gonna be like watching 2020 together. It's gonna be great.
I love 2020.
I know. So my plan is I can't do his voice. He has that like really soothing voice while he talks about terrible things. I'm not great at that.
I love 2020 though. 2020 and Dateline classics.
I grew up watching this with my parents. I was probably 9 years old watching Dateline.
There's a Dateline. I'll have to go back and look at it and maybe we can do a little intro on it. There's a Dateline from Summit County.
I know that one.
Yeah.
We should do that one.
Okay. Yeah.
But this one, this is a fascinating. I mean, when I say fascinating, we say that word way too much. Garrett pointed this out. But in the last episode, I mean, Lyndon McLeod is truly fascinating. Like they are studying him. This case is really, really interesting because there's a little bit of a pattern that emerges that I want all of your input on.
Okay.
So first, I'm just going to kind of like walk you through it. So maybe like some guided imagery. This will be like meditation until it's enough.
Should I close my eyes?
Yes.
Okay.
Close your eyes. Okay.
My eyes are closed.
It's September 29th, 2012.
Okay, so it's crispy.
It's a little crispy outside, crispy and cool. The colors are magical in the mountains where you are. Rocky Mountain National Park.
Okay.
You're hiking on Deer Mountain.
Okay.
Your husband celebrating your 12-year anniversary. And you step up to the edge to take a picture. And all of a sudden, you are flying down the cliff 50 feet.
No, thank you.
So
I don't remember this one. I think I saw the Dateline on this one, though.
You might have.
Maybe.
The woman who was hiking on September 29th with her husband is Toni Henthorn.
Okay.
Toni Henthorn. Okay. So she she did die. She was 50 years old, super successful ophthalmologist from Jackson, Mississippi. She came from a wealthy family, and she had gotten into this relationship with Harold Henthorn, and he persuaded her to move on up to Highlands Ranch.
What?
Which is sort of in our neck of the woods.
Yeah.
So they were living.
Maybe I don't remember this.
They were living in Highlands Ranch. Okay.
Okay.
So you're probably already having some questions or thoughts, right? Like, she's hiking. Do they hike all the time? The answer is no. She was not an avid hiker.
Interesting.
The person who called dispatch, this was in a very isolated, pretty rugged area. It's a very popular hiking spot.
Okay.
That's why I was going to see if you even know Deer Mountain, because I know you hike all the time. I've been up in Rocky Mountain too, but I don't recognize Deer Mountain.
Okay.
But apparently it was pretty rough terrain. And Toni was not like a frequent hiker.
Right.
She was outdoorsy though. She liked a lot of outdoorsy stuff, but she wasn't a real frequent hiker.
Okay.
And I know you're my little mountain goat. So that's why this case is just perfect for you.
I know. I think I'm trying to figure out.
But there's more.
Oh boy.
Okay.
Okay,
so
what?
Precious Harold Henthorn. Right?
Precious.
His poor wife takes a tumble 50 feet off a cliff. And he calls dispatch and he says he's doing CPR. He's freaking out, right? I couldn't find a 911 tape. I would love to find that. So I will be looking. If we find it, we will put it on Instagram.
Okay.
So, The paramedics come out. They can't save her. I don't know for certain if she was still alive when the paramedics got there or not, but I believe she still had a pulse when she was on the ground. 50
Wow.
feet, Nat, off a cliff.
That is wild.
And you know what? Hiking's dangerous. There's a few places in Colorado that are extremely dangerous. I don't think this is one of the more famous dangerous one. What's the one that it's like knife's edge or something like that?
Yeah. That's Capitol Peak. Preston's done it.
Capitol Peak. I've seen pictures of that and it makes my stomach flip. Just look at the picture.
I know.
It looks so scary.
Preston's wanted me to do it with him, and back in my like early 30s, late 20s, I was like, yeah. And then I'm like, there's no hike that I'm willing to risk my like life on, knowing I'm risking my life in that way.
And I would not survive without you. So we are not allowed to take those kinds of risks. Last night, y'all, we were leaving the office at 10 o'clock and we both needed to get gas because we're both on empty, because that's how we roll. So we're both on fumes. Nat has a preferred gas station. I have a preferred gas station. So we go to our individual gas stations, but we stay on the phone with each other.
Yeah,
just to make
sure that, we didn't die.
And then as if we didn't get enough time together, we decided to talk all the way home.
Yeah. We both pulled in.
We pulled in at the same time. We are like equidistant from the office, which is pretty funny. Okay. So we got a tumble. Poor Tony is no longer, right?
Yes.
Harold's catching some flack, right? So as per usual, they're at least going to talk to him. And a couple things start happening as they talk to him. Okay. His story is slightly changing over time. First, it was she went
that always happens.
Sure, exactly. It's shifting a little bit. It's shifting enough to make them feel a little bit more interested in what he was thinking.
Yeah.
Right? And there's something about how she fell. It's very hard. They cannot tell. They cannot tell if someone has been pushed or they fall. There's really no way to tell that.
Yeah.
And she went face first off the cliff. So his story is that she fell forward.
Okay.
Off the cliff. Okay. Right.
She like lost her balance or something.
Lost her balance or something and fell off the cliff. And again, not an avid hiker. So I don't know about you, Nat, but I'm not an avid hiker. How close do you think I would get to the edge of a cliff? Really?
Not close at all.
I don't know that I'd get out of the car. So the notion that she went to the edge of a 50-foot cliff, I already have questions, right?
Well, and I'm sitting here. Here's what I think. I think he said, hey, go stand near the cliff and I'll take a picture of you. And as she's walking, he pushed her.
I mean, yeah. The weird thing is, again, we won't know for sure which way she was facing.
Yeah.
It's interesting to me that he gave that detail that she went face first over. I think she did. People sometimes when they're being questioned, I learned this in the book Gift of Fear. It's so good. Read the Gift of Fear. It's so good. But anyway, people sometimes will sprinkle in truth with their lies because they almost can't help themselves. Like they just get going so fast.
Right.
It's like OJ, man. OJ did this stuff too. But, he's kind of putting these pieces in these details that are interesting. And sometimes offenders don't have anxiety. And so they just start lying and it doesn't cause them any anxiety. Sometimes they're very nervous and they just start making stuff up and panicking and then their stories stop lining up.
Yeah.
I'm on the fence on this guy, whether he's the former or the latter. I don't really know yet. So we're going to explore that a little bit more. Okay. Prosecutors start going, there might be something here. Right? We're investigating her death. So far, nothing, no charges. They didn't charge him right away because there's really like no physical evidence that would support that she was pushed. There's no way. They got to go find other stuff.
Right.
So here's some of the stuff that they found. She had $4.7 million in life insurance policies.
How much?
$4.7 million in life insurance policies that she didn't know existed.
What?
Meaning he took these out without her knowledge.
Oh my. Here's the thing.
Follow
Here's the
the
thing.
money, number one.
Yes. And here's the thing. I don't know when this was. Did you say what year it was?
2019.
Okay. So not that long. I mean, not that long ago. I feel like if Preston tried to get another life insurance policy out on me, I would have to sign something.
Not necessarily.
That's crazy.
I know. But it gets better. Okay. So he has all these inconsistent accounts. He's just kind of backtracking on some things. They're going, it doesn't make sense she went to such a dangerous part of this hike. That didn't make a whole lot of sense, like why you'd get so close to the cliff. And most trails will not bring you right to the edge of a cliff unless it's like a super challenging trail, or it's like Capitol Peak where it's rock, like you're basically on a rock face, you know? Yeah. They found, this one makes me giggle, and it shouldn't make me giggle, but you're going to giggle too. When the park rangers were talking to him and kind of going through his things and like trying to help out, okay? He had a map of the park with an X drawn right where she died.
No.
Yep.
And he showed it to them?
No, they found it.
Oh my gosh.
They found it like in his stuff. I don't even think it was well concealed. It was just like sitting there.
He's like, it's just my map.
It's just my map. My treasure map.
It's just my map.
X marks the spot where my wife will die.
Yeah.
So good luck explaining that one.
Yes.
Okay. So he obviously could not explain that. That's a tough one, right?
Right.
There is no evidence that he actually tried to do CPR, even though he said he did. None.
Dang. Well, yeah, because CPR, you like basically break their ribs.
Yeah, and granted, her ribs may have already been broken, but all the things, face, mouth, whatever, there would be evidence that he did that. There's no evidence he did CPR, but he told dispatch that he was doing CPR.
I mean, I took a CPR class a long time ago, and you know when someone's tried it.
Yep.
Okay, so he's winning. So far, he's winning.
Yep. So far, not
brightest crayon in the box award.
Let's throw some other fun things in here, shall we?
Okay.
He made phony business cards to make it seem like he was a hardworking fundraiser for churches and nonprofits. When all of this went down and they start investigating him, he doesn't have any money from regular employment. There's no, he doesn't make any money.
Okay.
Yep. Which is an example of parasitic lifestyle.
Oh, yeah. Yep. That.
He was living off of her. Parasitic lifestyle is something we really see quite a bit with psychopathy.
Yes.
So tuck that away. Parasitic lifestyle means you are living off someone else, like a freaking parasite.
Yep.
And this guy really, I mean, he put on a good face. He had these janky business cards made that says he does all these things he doesn't do, blah, blah, blah. And then they look at his criminal history. Hold on to your butt. This one's wild.
I feel like I know where you're going with this.
The only previous arrest he's ever had was when he stole $47.49 worth of men's underwear from JCPenney's in 1994.
What?
In Littleton. You know the mall over there on Littleton over by over by Kipling? I don't know what that road is.
Yeah. No, not Southlands. I don't know.
It's something like that. South Glen? No, not South Glen. It's something over there.
Yeah.
But anyway, $47.49 worth of men's underwear from a JCPenney's in 1994. How hard up do you have to be that you have to steal men's undies from a JCPenney?
I mean, homeboy doesn't work.
1994. It was 20 years earlier.
That's crazy. I wonder if he's ever had a job.
I don't know. I don't know. I didn't get his whole employment history, so we'll have to see. So we have a parasitic lifestyle. We have these life insurance policies. 2 of them were for like a trust. He was the only beneficiary on one of them too.
Of course he was.
And it's also still wild to me that she didn't know it existed. Like,
yeah,
we're going to come back to that. They start looking at cell phone records, what he's been up to. He had scouted that area 9 times before he brought her there.
Wow. How do they know 9?
Because they pinged his cell phone.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. They could track it with his cell phone that he had been there 9 times, like right before.
Dang.
So there was somebody that he was friends with who said he had done 6 hikes in that area in the 2 weeks before this happened.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh. So he just was really obsessed with that area, or he was just planning something out.
Yep. I mean, this is not our most intelligent criminal we've ever talked about.
No.
I mean, he had a map
map
with an X on it.
Yeah.
But he does have a pattern.
Me.
He has a pretty intense pattern. So the prosecutor, Sunita Hazra, said he was searching for the perfect place to murder someone where there would be no witnesses and no chance for survival.
Wow.
Because you fall 50 feet.
You're done.
You hope your partner calls for help.
Yeah.
If you are still alive, and if they do call for help, you hope they do CPR.
Yeah.
Yeah, none of that really happened. He
none of that
died and then called 911. I don't know.
Wow.
Yep. Okay. So we are going to back up a little bit further.
Okay.
2011, they're working on their cabin in the mountains. This is still Tony. So this is before all of this.
Okay.
You're a year before, right? They're working on a cabin together.
Mm-hmm.
And she's hit with a 20-foot beam that falls from the ceiling.
Oh my gosh.
Mm-hmm. And it fractured her vertebrae. It hit her in the head and it fractured her vertebrae.
She's lucky she lived through that.
Yep. And she's either Calamity Jane or
he tried to kill her a year before.
Which brings me back to the pattern. Okay, so she survived that, fractured her vertebrae. Poor little lamb, right? I mean, that's terrible. So then we're going to go back even further. I
think I know where you're going with this. Keep going.
We're going to go to his first wife, Sandra Lynn Henthorn. Okay, so this poor woman was crushed when a car slipped off of a jack while they were changing a flat tire in 1995.
Yep.
Remember, stole underwear 1994. We have a terrible accident where the jack slips out and she's crushed under the weight of the car in 1995. That's his first wife.
Wow.
Guess how long they'd been married?
His first wife and him? A year.
12 years, just like
his
second wife.
What is with him and today?
So his first wife died.
Yeah.
Several months after their 12th anniversary.
Okay.
His second wife died on their 12th anniversary.
Wow.
That's wild.
What's with him in 12?
Who knows?
Okay.
So this looks innocent enough initially. But again, this was in a remote location. In one of the reports from 1995, in this situation that happened, there was a footprint that they found on the car indicating it might have been pushed. So if you've ever jacked up a car, if you push a car hard enough when it's up on a jack, it's super dangerous to be underneath that jack.
Yeah.
Underneath the car.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay. So he's got a dead first wife accident. He's got a beam that fell from the ceiling. Could have actually been an accident. Poor Tony. But they're looking at him now like, really? And then his second wife dies in an accident. Right? So, surprising no one, this dude gets convicted.
Right. Oh,
it's like game over.
Done.
Literally, it was a federal jury. And the FBI was involved in part because it happened on National Forest land.
Right.
So you're dealing with park rangers. You got Douglas County. I mean, there were so many people involved. Everyone.
Oh my gosh.
This one's especially interesting to Nat and I'm sure, because we work in Douglas County.
Yeah.
So this is our neck of the woods. This guy was living up the street. We might have been passing him in a supermarket. I mean, this is wild, right?
Right.
Okay. So he gets convicted. The jury takes 10 hours. Harold Henthorn, it only took the jury 10 hours to go, you did it, man. You did it. And when this happens and he's found guilty of first-degree murder, the courtroom erupts in applause.
Dang.
Applause, right? Because I think there was a sense that he probably has gotten away with some things to this point as well. So there was some justice. So he's serving a life sentence without the possibility of parole. He just appealed. It got shot down last year.
He just appealed.
He appealed.
How are people so dumb?
I don't know. The X on the map is special. Like
that's just,
Yep.
You appeal when you got, all the evidence is there. Like, what are you appealing, bro? You had an X on a map like it was your treasure chest.
It's just a little bit unbelievable. So
oh my gosh.
He's a moron. He's also in prison. But I want to talk about his psychology a little bit. And they had a daughter, by the way, who's now 19 years old.
They had a daughter together.
So that's incredibly sad. So this poor girl lost her mama and lost her dad when he went to prison, right? So that's hard. I want to talk about his psychology a little bit, because we have a couple things happening here. There's something called criminal versatility, which is where it's like, I'm your standard issue, jack of all trades criminal.
Yeah.
I do a little bit of everything, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
He's not quite that, but shoplifting the underwear and then setting things up the way that he did, there's a lot of criminal thinking happening there.
Yes.
A lot of they were set financially. They were not under financial pressure. And I didn't read anywhere that he was under financial pressure.
I don't understand. Okay.
Yeah.
Weird.
So I wanted to talk about that a little bit. When we talk about whether or not someone is a psychopath, we look at, do they have the capacity for empathy? Right? And then we really look at what are the motivators, right? This guy has a pattern that I think is wild. Something goes off in his head when he's been married a certain amount of time and he decides to cash out.
Yeah, which is so weird.
It's so weird. And it's weird that it's kind of a similar amount of time.
I wonder if something happened to him when he was 12.
Doesn't that make you wonder?
Yeah.
Or maybe when his parents had been married 12 years, or like there's something in his psyche.
That's like an anniversary of something.
It's weird. It's gotta be. The criminal minds fanatic.
Yes.
Is saying, what is with the number 12? We need somebody to like analyze the 12 and come up with something, because it's like an itch in my brain. I know. Really, really, really want to understand.
Yes.
So now that you've heard the story, I want to know, what do you think of the psychology pieces and any other kind of reactions to this case? It sounds like you had a little bit of loose knowledge, but the
thanks to Dateline.
I know.
Yes. Dateline is like my jam.
Chef's kiss.
I know.
It's just a Friday night. So I do have to say, Garrett came home. He had a thing today, right? So I bring him home and he's exhausted. He doesn't feel good, you know. And I'm like, what do you want to watch, babe? And it's like true crime, this, that. What's the one, the jail where they unlocked,
Mm.
you know, all these shows.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, could we just maybe do a comedy? I'm like, what?
That sounds
A
terrible.
comedy? You don't want to watch true crime with me while you're all hopped up and all the things?
Yeah.
No, he did not.
Well, here's the thing. He also has to listen to us like for hours to edit.
True. I know.
So he's probably so over true crime.
We just roll in like the personality hires we are. Record for an hour and then Garrett's back there like working forever.
He's like, I hate these girls. Anyway.
What stands out to you in his behavior and psychology?
Well, the 12 years is going to drive me nuts, and I'm probably going to try to research that.
Yeah, we need to go down that rabbit hole together for sure.
Yeah, that's going to drive me crazy. Yeah, the 12 is something, and yeah, like, I mean, most serial killers that you and I have talked about, or even have like studied, they don't wait 12 years.
No.
They have to, like, for lack of better terminology, scratch that itch well before that.
The other thing about psychopaths is they can be very calculating, but many times they're actually very impulsive.
Yes.
So the level of calculation in this one is interesting to me. I didn't read anything that suggested they were having marital problems. They were in couples counseling, none of that.
Yeah.
And she agreed to go on a hike. And I've always thought this, I have such a morbid brain. I have actually told my clients who are going on a first date to not go on a hike, which in Colorado, there's a lot of that where it's like, let's just do a short hike. And there are other people out on trails, depending on where you go and whatever.
One of my first dates was a hike.
Yes, but that has always felt a little bit vulnerable to me. It's just a little bit vulnerable. And being in the middle of nowhere with this person who's supposed to be your safest person.
Well, 12 years of marriage.
12 years of marriage. I mean, I'm not going to be.
That's not their first date.
No. But what I'm saying is, it has struck me before how vulnerable we are in that situation. If I'm in a restaurant with a bunch of people, that's different. But we're talking cabins, right? Being under a jack in a rural, sketchy area, remote area, like these are places where you would expect your person to protect you. These are not areas that you want to be with somebody who intends to do you harm. You just don't have any options to get help.
Right. Also, hold on. Pause. Can we just reflect on the fact that his first wife was under the car and he wasn't?
I mean, is that not on brand for him? These women, this is the thing, man.
I know.
Lyndon McLeod hates women doing all his stuff, right? This dude, he's going to live off of her and then push her off a cliff.
I know.
He's going to have his first wife on the ground under the car.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what? They did it. And you know why? Because his first wife did everything. I bet you anything. She knew how to do everything. So she gets up under that car because she's going to change the tire because she's a boss lady and she's going to take care of business.
Yes.
And he's going to kick the freaking car to get a payout.
Anyway, I had to just reflect on that of like
100%.
And I'm sorry, like I know I'm being a little like stereotypical here. But no, just no.
Well, even if, okay, let's say, I know how to change a tire and so does my husband. That is not true in my case, but let's say it was.
Same.
But in fairness to me, it's not about a tire. I don't know how anything works. So it could be literally anything. I don't know how it works. But let's say we both know. We're going to work together on it. It's just interesting to me that he was able to get her under that car. And then I have this other part of my brain that's going, what did that even look like? Was he like, babe, I'm going to need you to get under there. My back really hurts, you know, or like, or like, hey, little closer to the edge. You know what I mean?
Right. Like, hey, a little closer to the wheel.
Oh, I wish I could have been there in that moment and been like, he's gonna push you, he's a jackass. Like,
Oh my
back
God.
up, but you can't,
Mm-hmm.
there was literally no one there to help either of them.
Mm-hmm.
But it does beg the question,
Mm-hmm.
like, how did he get her all the way to the edge of
So
that?
I pulled up his picture and he's just,
I know, it's a little nasty.
oh,
A little
like
nasty.
schmoozy face.
I don't understand the appeal. I do not.
But it's like, yeah, that, but also it's like, he's just so schmoozy.
I know he looks like, I don't even know how to say it. Like,
Mm.
I don't know. There's just something off about him.
I wonder, yeah. My brain also, so some of the psychology piece of this too for me, and this is not as like deep into the like the psychopathy or a psychopath's brain, but more in like just sometimes how we can be so blind to things because I'm sitting here thinking there had to have been blinding red
Mhm.
flags.
Oh,
Blinding
yeah.
red flags.
Well, so here's one, right?
Huh.
She was a very successful ophthalmologist, eye surgeon, but what
Okay.
she really wanted was to have a family.
Yeah.
He persuaded her straight off to move to Douglas County in Colorado. That was his first, they met online in 1999. And
Mm-hmm.
they married just 9 months later, and he convinced her to move to Colorado.
Mm.
So people fall in love online. Like that's a thing that now I will say
Yeah.
not as often in 99 as now,
Yeah.
right? So that was a little bit different for then. It wasn't as common as it is now.
Mm-hmm.
But here's this guy, and he's basically saying he's a wealthy businessman who was fundraising for schools and churches.
Oh my
Who doesn't
gosh.
want to be with that guy,
Right.
right?
Yeah. And then she probably found out after that he really was just
Mhm.
living off of her.
Yes. And then I know a little bit more about the hike itself
Okay.
that I can probably share. And I think it's because they took pictures on the hike,
Mm.
right? I mean, that was his whole story is she was taking pictures and fell. So
Mm.
they left for their hike just before 3:30.
Mm-hmm.
And then they had lunch on top of a cliff. So they like go right up and they basically have lunch at the top of the cliff.
Okay.
And then they continued off a trail and found another cliff that was a little bit lower.
Mm-hmm.
Less than a half an hour later, she fell off of that cliff.
Mm.
Hmm. Now, the 911 call was placed. And I don't know how they know this. Maybe somebody heard. There were no witnesses to the fall,
Yeah.
but the 911 call was placed at almost 6 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
And they're estimating that she had fallen maybe even up to 45 minutes before that.
Wow.
And it took the police 15 minutes to get there, 30 minutes to assess her and move her.
Wow.
So he told the operator, I just am finding all this stuff. We'll put this in there. He told the operator that her breathing was weak and that she had a head injury.
So
She and then he asked the operator to send a helicopter.
so she didn't die right away.
Mm-mm. No, she didn't die right away.
That's so sick.
Mhm. He asked, well, he spoke to a different operator later and told them that he built a fire in a rock enclosure and Tony's breathing had become more shallow and later confirmed her breathing had gone to zero. He told the operator that he tried chest compressions and the operator gave him instructions on how to do it. And then he made another 911 call and asked if they were on the way.
Wow.
So there's a lot of questions in here in my mind about he said she wasn't dead when she
Mm-hmm.
hit the ground.
Mm-hmm.
She very well could have been.
Yeah.
Because the story that was going to benefit Harold the most was that he's this distraught husband doing CPR on his wife who fell. Like, he had to try to sell that. He can't go and go, hey, she's dead.
Right.
They're going to be like, what's up with you? So he had to create quite the story. He also told police he didn't see her fall. He described it as a blur. But then he told other people that she wandered too close to the edge. He told a different person that she was trying to take the picture.
So he just couldn't get it right.
Right. And then Tony's parents, when they were told there was an accident and that Tony was dead, Tony's dad said he pushed her. He said it out loud.
Like he just already knew.
Oh, there's so much more in here. Her parents were worried about her for some time because she was a high-achieving, confident woman, but she lost some of her confidence when she moved to Colorado. And he became controlling.
Yeah.
And isolated her a fair bit.
Yeah. I mean, that's not surprising.
Yep. So we definitely have power and control. Every time her mom tried to broach the subject of Harold's job, like any good mom would, right? You sit down and go, how's the job search? What project are you working on, right? Like, that mom was barking up that tree for sure.
For sure.
Basically, Tony would say things like, if you do that, it just makes it worse. I'll suffer the consequences, right? Like, if you guys make this hard, it just makes it hard on me. So just be cool, right? Which we see a lot from victims.
Oh, she said that. Sorry.
She said that, yeah.
Yes.
And then they all pointed to what happened with this, the beam that fell on her.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I bet they thought.
Her parents had literally told her not to go anywhere alone with him.
Wow.
So
they saw these big red flags.
They saw red flags. They did. Yeah. Also, he told a ranger that he was not familiar with the area and he'd only been there once. So then they pull the cell phone data and it's like, bro, you've been here like 9 times.
Yeah. Like you hiked it with friends, you dummy.
Yep. Oh, here's the other risk you run when you do shady shit, right?
Okay.
You have to keep track of things.
Yeah.
So he says he'd never been there before. He was not familiar with the area, but we know he'd been there 8 or 9 times in the 6 weeks leading up, right? He mentioned to one of the rangers that he saw a white sheet on a cliff, but the sheet had been removed by Park Service a week before her fall. He saw it one of the other times he was up there.
Yeah, and then says he's not familiar with it. Oh my gosh.
So these are the kinds of things. This is not a super smart person who did this, but he did choose a crime that is hard to prove.
Yes.
In a remote area.
Yeah.
Where it's pretty certain that she would die.
Yeah.
And it doesn't beg as many questions as other things.
Yeah.
Right? So what do you make of somebody doing this a second time? He got away with it the first time.
Which is just wild to me, but here's the thing. This sounds like a really weird statement, but I'm going to say it anyway. Like, you got away with it the first time. I don't think he had the same itch as a actual serial killer.
No.
So why risk doing it again?
Like, he had a cushy life. She was making good money.
Yeah, like, bro.
He would have gotten that money eventually.
Didn't sound like she was going to divorce him unless maybe that's what was coming up. I don't know. Like,
that's what we won't know.
Yeah.
That's
like maybe she was thinking about leaving him, but they were like trying to work it out.
Maybe he found something. Maybe he found a text message or an email or something between her and someone,
Yeah.
That's one of the things when we work with victims, we tell them so many times. And also if you're on like the crisis services website, there's a button that you can click that'll close all the windows.
Yeah.
we have to think about these things because when someone's in danger with their partner, highest risk time is when you leave.
Yeah.
And you don't want them to know many times that you're in therapy.
Yeah.
You have a safety plan.
Yeah.
That you are working on pulling documents together or any of that. So that's why there are professionals who are trained specifically in safety planning.
Yeah.
Natalie and I are not one of those. We are typically trying to keep the person from doing the thing.
Yep.
But we have some tremendous colleagues and victim advocates that we work with who
work with victims.
Work with this the way to keep these people safe. And
yeah.
One of those things would be don't go anywhere alone with this person.
No.
If you're feeling afraid, if you're feeling isolated,
yeah.
don't go anywhere alone with them. I've told clients before when I have worked with people who've been victims, just why don't you take your own car to the movies? Your offices aren't that close together, so take your own car.
Yeah.
They don't like it.
No.
But sometimes that keeps them a little more safe until they're ready to leave.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So I wonder with these women, what that looked like. But doing it the second time, that blows my mind a little bit because he got away with murder.
Literally.
I really
Here's
believe
the
that.
thing. You know what this reminds me of? OJ.
I know.
It's the same thing because OJ.
Why do we go back and do it again? But see, OJ to me is a psychopath.
Well, yes, but OJ continued to change his story. The fact that OJ got away with it is still mind-boggling. But like the story changes. It's like it goes to what you said, the impulsivity, right? Like there's some calculatedness to it, I guess.
Yes.
But then it's impulsive and it's like you don't actually think this through. Like none of them are Dexter.
No.
Right?
Dexter wouldn't have a map with an X on it.
No.
That's some hot nonsense. This is so interesting because when you say that, Nat, that maybe she was fixing to leave, that would track. The number of years is still weird. It could just be a crazy coincidence, but it is
I don't think it's a coincidence.
Weird. I know.
But I do wonder, just wonder, I don't know. I do wonder if she was fixing to leave, if she was getting that many red flags from people around her, like her parents and all that.
Well, and the heart of this one, I think, warning signs, especially around finances. So again, with the isolation, again, with the quick relationships, but women, men and women, but I'm speaking to women right now, you got to know what's up with your finances, especially if the person you're with refuses to contribute. If they're not contributing, but they're running things, and I get this sense from this couple that he was running things, even though she was very successful.
Yeah.
For him to pull out those life insurance policies, first of all, the premium on a $4.7 million policy, it was actually 1.5 and change $1 million policies, but whatever, total 4.7.
Yeah.
The premium for that you would be paying monthly or annually is large enough that you would probably notice it if you knew something about your finances.
Right.
If Garrett took out a life insurance policy on me that I didn't know about,
you would know right away.
I would know. And I would be like, you're planning to kill me. And I would probably leave him.
Yeah.
Because scoreboard, that never goes well. This is something that couples talk through and think through. And you know what I mean? This is not like all of a sudden there's a life insurance policy. And you're right, Nat. I mean, you typically have to, when you sign up for the policy, you have to sign some things, but you can get them for children and stuff like that too. So,
yeah, but you have to you have to pick your beneficiaries. I probably said that wrong, but you have to pick the people that it's going to. Like, I mean, we both have life insurance policies because we've seen and gone through crazy crap.
Everybody should definitely get life insurance policies.
Yes.
Good for your partner and your kids and everything else.
But we had to pick. Yes, but I had to pick the people it was going to.
Oh no, he logged on and he made it himself.
He just knew all her information.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
He didn't talk to anyone.
No, I'm sure he didn't.
Mm-mm.
You know?
I wonder if life insurance policy, like the way to go about it has changed because of this.
Could be.
I hope so. If not, then figure it out, life insurance policy holders.
I know. I mean, hello, what are they
Or
doing?
distributors, whatever you are.
You have an insurance agent on here and be like, how does this work? Because
Yes.
this is one of the ultimate red flags is a random life insurance policy.
I actually have 2 life insurance agent friends.
How have we not talked about this? All right, we need to do a mini with one of them and be like,
Okay.
how does this work? And how did he scam the system and take out these policies?
And how do people do that in general? Because here's the thing, that happens often enough because it's a
Almost
thing.
every 2020 or Dateline, there's life
Yeah.
insurance involved.
Yes, always.
So that's a big one. Also, can we talk for a minute about due diligence when you are dating or choosing someone to marry?
Mm-hmm.
So there's a couple things you should be aware of. You can background check people. That is
Mm-hmm.
not stalking.
Mm-mm.
Colorado in particular, I don't know all the states, but Colorado has an Open Records Act. You have a right to that information. You can go get the information that you need.
Yes, know who you're dating.
Know who you're dating. There's even Facebook sites that we're now privy to that are like, are we dating the same guy? Where you can check that out. Now,
Or have you dated this guy? What's he like?
What's he like? I do think that there could be some slanderous material in some of those. Like
Sure.
those are problematic at times, but they also have proven beneficial at times.
Yeah.
We've
If I was single, I would go on those if I was in the dating world.
Oh, absolutely. And so I think also with the okay, keep an eye on your finances, do some due diligence, go to truthfinder.com. It may not be perfectly accurate, but you're going to get some things.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to get some things that
Mm-hmm.
might be helpful, and maybe those create some questions.
Mm-hmm.
And then be safe while you're asking those questions, right? Because they're going to escalate as you're asking questions.
Yes.
Right. So be mindful. Maybe meet with a professional who can help you with the safety plan.
Yeah.
But then also, like, if the people in your life are telling you, we don't feel good about this person, you seem different. That's a warning sign. And I know it's hard when we're all wrapped up in a relationship and the people who do this to their partners are really good at it. Some of them. The isolation, they can be really great at it. Sometimes they will even create problems, which we've talked about. Even in the gaslighting episode, we talked about creating problems between family members.
Yeah. Yeah.
But don't forget the people that you've known forever. They didn't just change overnight. So maybe they know something. Maybe they see something that you're not seeing.
Yeah.
So I hope you enjoyed this one.
This one was good.
I didn't get to fully surprise you, but this is a great case to talk about in terms of what are some of the things that precede a murder.
Yes.
Right? And also some of the most intentional murderers make real poor choices and impulsive choices in their planning. So he was meticulous, but he was meticulous in a dumb way.
I was going to say, this guy, it doesn't even scratch the surface of being meticulous or being calculated. He's just not the brightest crayon in the box.
He thought he was calculated.
Right.
But he checked out that area like 8 times. I don't know what he thought was going to change.
And then said he never went there.
They're rocks. They're not going to change. Although, you know what did change? The sheet that he forgot about.
Right. And then he said he never went there, but I hiked it 100 times.
I mean, I know.
You know,
not our most interesting criminal. However, the pattern's interesting. And we have some prevention strategies.
Yes. Guys, look for red flags.
Yes, look for red flags. Thank you for joining us. And as always,
thank you, our forensic friends.
See you soon.
Bye.
I'm Janine.
And I'm Nat.
And as always, thanks for listening and join us next week for more Crime, Psychology, and Heart.